If I go exceed your expectations, please refer me 3 clients. I invest my marketing dollars into the relationship. You could do things together as you start building your team. They could come in with absolutely no money and come away with a home.
Well, smart tax and wealth planning. Like I said, I've been in business for over 20 years. And now, for the last, 8 years or so, I've been focused on building a portfolio, evolving as a real estate agent. Because, I started in sales, then I wanted to be a team leader and then a broker and then, building a team, starting a brokerage, etc. And then now, of course, wanting to accumulate a portfolio because I'm at the ripe old age of 55. And if I'm going to be retiring gracefully, I want to make sure I have residual income. That's why I joined EXP. So, because they do have residual income but that's not what we're talking about today. We're talking about, because if you're with Remax, Coldwell Banker, EXP is not important to you. So let's get right into this. Why this matters for real estate agents? Well, real estate income is often high but inconsistent. I mean, you probably know that because this last few months, you probably did a lot better the prior year. And this particular 2025 last year was, could be a little bit rough for some agents if they didn't make the right adjustments. Taxes are usually the largest expense, right? Like I mentioned earlier, if you made $1 million in 1 year, your tax bill could be around 300, 350, maybe 400,000. Poor planning leads to overpaying the IRS. Nobody wants to pay the IRS no more than you have to, right? No single cent more. But because we don't plan properly, that's the problem. And because we also have new deductions on the big beautiful bill that has been launched out, you should learn about this at least to some degree. So then, when you provide information to your CPA and your tax preparer, then you have an idea of what it is. And I'm just going to say it. Some tax preparers really don't know. I've experienced them. I also have quite a few of them that are not. I actually think that some of them want you to be in trouble, and so they file these extensions. They don't really advise you correctly, because I realize also that if you have tax problems, then they have business. If you don't have tax problems, they don't make money. And I'm like, oh. So I've been observing this whole thing for the last few decades, and I hope I'm wrong, but I continue to question it. Anyways, let's move on. Smart tax strategy, more cash to invest and grow, right? Good tax strategy. And you always hear that billionaires never pay taxes. Wow. That they definitely I hear that throughout my entire business career, and that's mind-blowing, right? Wealth isn't built by income alone, but by structure, right? Proper structure. Common tax challenges agents face: high self-employment taxes, no clear separation between business and personal, missing or undocumented deductions. This is what I was talking about. I used to have everything in a shoebox, paid cash for a lot of things. When I cashed my checks, I would get cash itself, and then I would take my receipts and put it in a shoebox, and then hopefully later get to upload them into some tax form, Excel or whatever I was using at the time. And I know I missed a lot. I mean, I had huge tax bills, and I didn't really make a lot of money. So that's a sad thing about it. But today, it's more streamlined. I have a better brain on it. That's my wife. So she's really on top of these things. She doesn't want to give one extra penny more to the IRS, so which is great. Wrong business entity. Okay, we'll go over this a little bit. I mean, if you are sole proprietor, or if you're planning to make more and do more, maybe moving into S corp, talk to your tax person about it. Paying taxes reactively instead of strategically. Know your income streams, right? You got commission, referral income, team overrides, rental income, investment and equity income, dividends, right? So just know where your money comes from. Some of you also have a part-time job or a full-time job. So, know where your income comes from, so then you could properly have the right plan and give it to your tax person and talk about it. Do some studying. I always tell my daughter, because she's relatively new, she has a degree in entrepreneurship, but I'm 30 years older than her. And I always tell her, at least know what your advisors do and how they do it, like an attorney. If you're hiring an attorney, at least know what and how they do things, right? Also, when you're investing, like if you're going to hire a financial advisor, know if you could know just as much as them, but you don't want to do it because you're not into the up-to-date ways of doing things, but you understand the concepts of what your financial advisor doing. That's really good, because you could catch them when they're not doing their job properly. Let's move on. Entity structure. This is the foundation, sole proprietorship, LLC, S corporation. Talk to your tax person about this, right? I mean, S corp. I have S corp, so there's a lot of things why I have S corp. So your structure should change as your income grows. Key tax deductions for agents: home, vehicle, marketing, coach, CRM, travel. I mean, these are things that we do. Um, I mean, I'm with a company called eXp Realty. It is an international company. We have international events I go to learn. But not only that, I also am able to connect and network and closely collaborate with agents around the world. And all that I do out in the world is a tax deduction. Right? I mean, Spain, Paris. I tie this in not only with my real estate business, but with my lifestyle, right? I mean, I don't want to work all my life and have no lifestyle. I mean, I have a lot of successful real estate friends, and yeah, they make a ton of money, but they work 7 days a week, and they're control freaks, and that's okay. I mean, I'm that's their thing, but me, I mean, I like to just, Thomas the Train. I just keep going and keep going, slow and steady, because I want a lifestyle. I love to travel. I mean, my wife and I, we take at least, I don't know, 4 vacations a year, international vacations as well. We're leaving this coming February to Honduras and Belize. And then in March, we're going to Cabo, our annual event. I mean, it's called Cabo26.com this year. And we go to the Hyatt Ziva. It's an amazing place. It is a 5-day convention, but our convention's only 3 hours a day. And the rest of the time, we're just on the beach or fishing. That's where I go do my annual fishing in Mexico, because Mexico has world-class fishing. And so those are all tax deductions. And that I literally use that as part of my lifestyle, where I want to enjoy. Like if I'm going to Paris, I want to see Paris at the same time if I'm going to do business out there. And that's usually just collaboration and maybe going to an event. All right, so documentation is just as important as deductions. Okay, make sure you document. And to do that, having separate bank accounts, I mean, you should be doing that. That's a basic for us business and real estate folks. Strategic tax planning moves: reasonable salary and distribution, timing, income and expense properly. retirement contributions to lower taxable income. I mean, I know they increased your uh, IRA and your investments this last year, so which is great for those that love to save, and you should be saving because we are independent contractors as agents. Depreciation strategies for investment properties. Okay, if you have rentals, planning before year end, not at tax time. Super important. Retirement and long-term wealth. Solo 401k, SEF IRA, self-employment, Roth versus traditional strategies, tax deferred and tax-free growth. Agents must create their own retirement plan. And so, if you are a real estate agent, self-employed, person who is not working for a company that has, deductions out of their check, you got to create your own retirement. And, you know, um, there are simple ways to do it. And when you get a commission check, you take 30% out for your taxes. That might be a little high, but take 30% out, then maybe 20% for your marketing, and then another 10% out for your savings, and then 40% for your expenses, car, mortgage, lifestyle, food, etc. So however you do it, just make sure you're putting some away for a rainy day, especially for us real estate agents. We're always told to put 6 months away of reserves. And I like to say 1 to 2 years of reserves. Because if you couldn't sell a home for 2 years, you need some income, right? And I know some agents, they're not doing much. Yeah, in the Bay Area, if you're from the Bay Area, commissions could be high. 30, 40, $50,000 each check. Not bad. But then our expenses are high also in the Bay Area. Mortgage could be 5, 6, 7,000 per month. Taxes 2,000 a month, right? So just plan properly, okay, and especially for retirement. So let's move on. Using real estate agents to build wealth. Using real estate to build wealth. Buy and hold rentals. This is I always talk about this. I talk about this at least once a month with agents or my wife or my family. Buy and hold is it's tough here in the Bay Area. Usually it doesn't cash flow much or any. It could be negative, but the long term and the compounding effect will eventually get there. And I made a mistake early on, and this is why I question a lot of brokers that if you are a salesperson, you work for a broker. I came across a 35 unit, two buildings that was 35 units in a very decent part of Stockton, California. It was right there at the corner. It was waterfront, brand new hotel on one corner, brand new stadium on the other. We had a government building on the other corner, and I had the other corner. And I acquired it, and it had some challenges, I gotta admit, but I was able to, smoothen it out. But I came across a rough patch, and now that I look back, it was probably a good 2 to 3 months of hard work getting there. But I asked my broker for advice, and he straight up, without even analyzing anything, he said, "You should sell it. It's going to affect your sales." That hit me, and I'm like, okay. And I did. And that was the biggest, biggest mistake of my life because I should have never listened to him. I realize now if I don't sell, he doesn't make a split off my commission. And they were making $100,000 off me every year because, I was producing. And that was a split between me and my broker. He would make around 100 grand a year. And of course, who wants to miss out on that, right? And I got rid of it. And that today, that could have, because this was a little bit earlier on in my career, that could have literally retired me right there. I mean, not retire with an amazing lifestyle, but at least stabilize my income. That property probably would have been paid off because I had a mortgage of probably maybe 400,000 or 500,000 back then. The property is probably worth around 2.5. 3 million right now, and I would add all that rental income of 35 units. But anyways, so buy and hold is a great strategy. Just know you're going to work hard, especially the first year if you're buying and holding um, in California, in particular the Bay Area. I mean, there's cash flow properties in other states, but um, I'm not 100% there. I've had properties in North Carolina, great place. I regret selling it. I think every home I had, uh, any of them that I sold, I regret it. I think maybe one or two that I'm glad I sold it. But house hacking, this is where you just rent out a whole bunch of rooms, rent out the laundry room, rent out the closet if it's big enough, and you could literally like take a 3 bedroom home and literally make like $8,000 a month. So if you know how, that's the house hacking. I mean, there's multiple ways of house hacking. Google it, chat GPT it, but there's many ways on how you could take one property and really make the most out of it. 1031 exchange, cost segregation, advanced strategy. Real estate provides cash flow appreciation, leverage, and tax advantages. So you're in real estate, you should know this because at least the basics of it, because if you're talking to clients, they're going to want to know if you know this stuff because you're going to need to help them. Okay, so cash flow and protection planning. I was going to go into the big, beautiful bill a little bit, but we'll wait for a minute. But the emergency fund for a variable income. So that's what I was talking about earlier. You should have reserved 6 months, 12 months. I think it should be like 2 years because sometimes real estate could be challenging, but if you have the right strategy, the right mentor, the right people around you, and you're out and you're determined, you're not going to have this challenge. Proper insurance, E&O, business liability, umbrella coverage, asset protection through entities, never mix personal and business. Build the right team. Okay, who's your team? Your CPA, your tax strategy, your financial advisor, your attorney, and this will help you really build the right team, right? And I'm sure some of you have contractors and some of them advance their work. They get paid through escrow. They need an advance. You pay part of it. Just document it properly. I had a problem like this, a $500,000 IRS challenge with a contractor because all of the jobs that I hired him, he billed me, I paid for it. And then the IRS thought I made an extra 100,000, 500,000, and anyways, that was taken care of. But the whole point is just have the right team, document properly. Key takeaways: taxes are manageable with the right strategy. Structure first, then scale. Be proactive, not reactive. Okay, so that's important because you want to plan ahead. Keep more, invest more, grow faster. Wealth is built intentionally over time. And that's why I say rental properties. I mean, I know our business of real estate can be tough, especially if you're in sales. That's one of the reasons why I joined EXP because, just imagine if you had an extra $2,000 a month coming in, and that could just be from bringing on one good agent, and then you have extra $2,000 a month. Wouldn't that be great? But they have a revenue share structure that that I that I seen right away. I mean, I'm not sure if you guys know, I'm the first EXP agent to join in the San Francisco area. Very fortunate. I mean, again, the broker that I was with, he was making, I don't know, 100 grand a year on split. So how worse can it be if I joined this company called EXP and nobody knew about it? People thought I was crazy, but I seen something. I see my future in there. At the time, I was a single full-time dad. I had to, pick up my daughter, drop off my daughter. I didn't trust babysitters, so she was with me at the open houses, door to door, all that stuff. And when I seen it, and I said, man, if I could just make extra $2,000 a month by sharing EXP Realty with my friends, Man, that would relieve a lot of pressure of just being a real estate sales agent, especially being a single full-time dad. Okay, I was a single full-time dad. So all I had was commission and my daughter, and I just had to figure it out. And then I joined EXP. I told a few friends, and I was intentional about it and told a few friends. And today I've been living off this residual since I got started, literally. And it's been a blessing. I still get it. It still grows. My business has expanded, or the organization expanded all over the country and even internationally. I mean, it's not like making pouring in money internationally, but it's potentially growing because I don't know most of the people after the third generation, and there's seven generations you get paid here. And I don't know most people, and there's hundreds of people in fourth and fifth generation that I don't even never met, haven't spoken to, but I feel blessed. And so I bring that up because this was one of the ways that a lot of people in the Bay Area can't afford apartment buildings, but they want the passive income, right? And this is the reason why I bring it up. That was me. Early on, I wanted some passive income because as a commission-based career, it was just, yeah, I learned early on that, okay, if I have 10 escrows, not all 10 is going to fall out, right? Not all 10 is going to blow up in my face and not have any income. So early on, I said 10 escrows every month, at least a few will close, two, three will close. If things are great, eight will close, sometimes all 10, but early on, I realized that I need a lot of escrows. And so when EXP came along and I seen the numbers, the passive income, I said, okay, what my broker doesn't offer me nothing. They don't offer me leads. They offer me poor advice, no tax advice, nothing. They just gave me a desk with a phone. I was there with my cool colleagues, but that was it. But I knew one thing, they're not going to pay for my bills. So EXP was a solution for me. They offer stock and everything, and because this subject right here that we're talking about is retirement, I didn't want to get into talking about EXP, but because that's the brokerage I'm with. If you're with Remax, Coldwell Banker, Compass, sorry I got into this tangent. Maybe you should look into it if you feel or can relate to anything that I said. So let's move on here. Well,